Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Cheryl Schmitt from Vital Chiropractic, and we are live here today with the amazing Rebecca Blankinship. I'm going to start out by just telling you a little bit about what she gave me as her bio. We just met recently, and we chatted on the phone, and I connected with her almost instantly. She has an amazing heart, I can tell already just by talking with her. A lot of her goals and her visions and her desires for families are right in line with what I want to do and try to do and strive to do with my clients and friends and in my practice. So I am excited to have her here and to introduce you to her, and hopefully she can give you some great insights. I'm sure she will, and you can use her services in the future, because she does do things locally in Kirkland and also online. So I'm going to just read her bio that she sent me. So just excuse me for a moment while I read. So this is Rebecca. She's going to tell you all about her credentials and what they all mean, but she is an ICCE, CEIM, CPD, is owner of Mama Nunu, Rockstar Birth and Parent Coaching, serving families in Kirkland, Washington, and globally, of course, through the magic of the internet. Rebecca believes that all birth is beautiful and deserves to be celebrated. She wants every parent to feel like they were a full participant in their birth story. Because sometimes getting to that place within ourselves doesn't happen overnight. Rebecca is most passionate about helping parents build a foundation for success from the preconception period or as early in pregnancy as she can reach them. Through Rebecca's parent coaching, she helps couples dive deeper into coping techniques, relaxation, and mindset strategies that can be used in their birth and every day of parenting. It is Rebecca's joy to help you find the magic among the challenges that pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting inevitably present. Rebecca is passionate about helping to improve maternal health through education, awareness, and empowerment. She is currently working on a goal of going from the couch to a half marathon and running for Team Every Mother Counts in the Seattle Half Marathon this November. And Every Mother Counts is a nonprofit organization working to improve maternal health outcomes in the U.S. and around the world. It's an amazing organization. So now this is my French. I am actually from Canada, and my French is really bad. But Rebecca's raison d'etre is waking up each morning to the gift of her daughter's presence and making a promise to create magic with and for her each and every day, which is amazing. She's an amazing mom, amazing things. So Rebecca, thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Anything you wanted to add to that, or anything that I butchered in pronouncing?
No, that's great. It's so funny. The last little sentence, it's like I almost teared up. It's what happens to you when you become a mom. It's like everything's emotional, but yeah. So thank you.
I know, as mommy hormones get going with our babies, we want to protect them, so it's very important. So I want to just quickly explain your credentials. What do those credentials mean? What are they about? So people who don't know.
Sure. Yeah. So I am an internationally certified childbirth educator through ICEA. ICEA is one of the oldest childbirth education organizations that started when we took birth, from the home to the hospital, had that for a while without any support or assistance. And then Lamaze and ICEA were kind of born to address the challenges that we were having at that time. So I'm certified through them. I love that organization. I'm also a certified educator of infant massage. And that is through Infant Massage USA. It also has an international umbrella organization. And I'm a certified postpartum doula through NAPS Doulas, which is a local kind of Northwest organization. So those are my certifications. I'm also a trained birth doula, working on my certification with that one. And I have, I'm a Bringing Baby Home educator and 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work leader from the Gottman Institute. So those are a couple more.
And you're a mom, so where do you find all the time to do all of that stuff? I mean, that's incredible.
I know it sounds a little crazy. I went wild with all of my trainings, but I have a reason for that. I felt like just one of them didn't really fulfill all of my passion and how I wanted to serve people. So I just had to keep going. And each time I took a new training, I realized, yes, I can incorporate this with people. So instead of kind of looking at it as a bunch of separate things, I've blended it into kind of this new thing in the way that I want to work with people. So
cool. So leading into that, like, tell me what your passion projects are. Like, what are you trying to do with families? What lights your fire?
What lights my fire? There's a lot that lights my fire, but what I am most passionate about, I do teach childbirth classes at a hospital, which is great. But, you know, on my own with my business, Mama Nunu, which, by the way, means Nunu's mom in East Africa, in Tanzania, where her father is from. So that's what that means. But I want to work with people more on a more intimate basis than childbirth classes like that can provide, and be working with them one-on-one from as early as the preconception period, if that's when they find me, throughout, you know, childbirth and, you know, their pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum period, so that they have someone that they can kind of, you know, ask questions, fill in the gap of prenatal care, which is, you know, great that we have prenatal care, but there's a lot, you know, more that it could be providing people. And so, yeah, kind of working as a parent coach with them with all of those different aspects that I, you know, of training that I've taken, and helping them where they're at. Because a lot of times a class is a general thing about, you know, the general idea of pregnancy and childbirth and parenting, and it can't be tailored or custom to, you know, where is that person in their journey and where are they coming from? Do they have a lot of fears surrounding childbirth? Like, you know, what needs do they need met, basically? So,
Yeah. And I think people underestimate the preconception period and preparation as well. So that's very important. And then early in pregnancy, and finding what their roots are and working with them is amazing. So I think you are on to something big, and you are filling a really big need for people in the community. So why? Like, why did you choose this?
Why did I choose this? Okay, this could be a really long part of our conversation here, but so just kind of to try and make it a little bit brief, my story a little bit is I got pregnant not having planned it. I think that's about 50% of pregnancies are unplanned, but not having planned it or thinking like, oh yes, I have to be a mother and this is what I'm going to do. But it was kind of more unexpected, and I was in a newer relationship and wasn't sure where that was going, and kind of found myself in this very, very foreign territory. So it was all foreign. I didn't know anything about, you know, childbirth or pregnancy or anything like that. And so I am kind of the type of person that likes to research things and read and learn. What is this all about, right? And just, you know, with that lack of cultural knowledge about pregnancy and birth, I really felt like that was where I was going to find my answers. And so I kind of happened upon midwifery care. It seemed to be the better option where I was living, and I wasn't someone who said, oh yes, I have to do everything all natural or have a midwife or anything. So I felt like I got really lucky in that way, that I was exposed to a kind of care that was more intimate and, you know, longer appointments and that kind of thing. And, you know, during that time, I watched the documentary Business of Being Born, which, you know, probably a lot of people have seen. It's a little bit older now. And it really opened my eyes to the fact that our system is not perfect. And so, you know, sometimes getting the birth experience that you want in this current system means it may feel like you're having to, you know, fight for different things or whatever. I ended up having a really, really positive birth experience, even though, you know, we transferred from the birth center to a hospital. I had taken childbirth classes, and, you know, nothing went as my birth plan, like it never ever does, right? I had envisioned just like this beautiful, intimate water birth at the birth center in the forest with the deer looking in, and, you know, and all this stuff. And my birth started differently, kind of more like Hollywood, the Hollywood scenes of like, oh my gosh, your water broke, and, you know, now it's, yeah, it's like, this is, labor is starting and all that. And so my water broke first, which is only like 10% of births happen that way. And so I wasn't expecting that. And, but it wasn't Hollywood in that my contractions didn't get going, right? So in Hollywood, it's like, your water breaks, your contractions are like super strong. You go to the hospital, you're screaming, you tell everybody you hate them, and then you push your baby out, and it was like a horrible experience. That's the sort of vision of birth that unfortunately we've put out into society for people to kind of like decide whether or not that's what they want to believe. But back to my story. Sorry, I'm sidetracking myself. So, you know, I kind of had learned about, you know, what I wanted and why with different, you know, things that were going to be beneficial for myself and my baby. And I had made the choice that I really wanted to avoid all of the interventions, you know. And so starting out that way, I was a little nervous because I was thinking, okay, if it doesn't get going, then there could be interventions with that, you know, 24-hour clock. And that's why we did end up transferring to the hospital. But from that time, so I was just kind of like, you know, telling myself, all right, I have to, you know, do something about this. Like, I am a part of this experience, and it's not just happening to me, but it is my experience, right? And so having made the decision, okay, yes, we can transfer to the hospital, I also made the decision to myself, I am going to do everything I can to still avoid interventions. And I used the tools I learned in my childbirth class to go from 1 centimeter dilated and visualizing my body opening up. And I didn't even know anything really about mirror neurons back then, but, you know, just this power that we have, the mind-body connection, was the first time I had experienced it. It was incredible. So I got to the hospital, and contractions that didn't seem super strong before were really strong. And so the doctor who was coming on to kind of also be there, because my midwife had hospital privileges, so that was nice, said, why don't we just wait a while and see these contractions? You know, they look pretty strong. And so a couple of hours later, I, you know, said to my midwife, it's, you know, it's getting pretty intense. I think I want to get in the tub for pain relief, right? She's like, well, let me check you first just to see where you are. And I had been kind of quietly coping with contractions, and my partner was there, and my best friend from elementary school, childhood, you know, she was there, and my mom was there, and my midwife all supporting me. And she checked me, and she's like, well, you are like almost fully dilated. You're about to have this baby. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. I was really surprised. I had no idea how much longer, you know, it would be. And so then I just, you know, after she was born, I mean, like the experience of giving birth to her, and then after she was born, I just felt so powerful, like I had never felt before. And the rush of endorphins and, you know, hormones and everything in that moment, you know, I didn't feel perfectly like, oh, I'm a mom and I know everything that I'm going to have to do for my child. But it was this other feeling of just this, here she is. I may have some fears, but I feel amazing right now, you know? And so that was a really incredible experience for me, just going through that. And someone who has never been I haven't been like an extrovert and a super ambitious person who's always said, I'm valuable and I'm powerful and I can do whatever I want. I mean, in subtle ways I had throughout my life, but this was a different kind of experience for me. And so after the birth, it was almost like a flip-flop side of that experience, because, you know, coming home, it's like you feel like in that moment, I felt like people should tell you that this is something to be celebrated, that this is really an amazing accomplishment to like have a baby, no matter what it looks like, you know, if that's, you know, cesarean birth or, you know, an epidural, if you push through something that you felt like you weren't sure you were going to be able to do, and you reach the other side, you go through that tunnel and you find the light and you reach the other side, then you come out stronger. And that's something to be celebrated, like no matter what. And there was no fireworks and there wasn't any like celebration, and it was all about, you know, the baby. And I feel like I realized that a lot of new moms get lost with just everything's about the baby. And, you know, it kind of gets back to real life and reality way too fast. Like for me, it was kind of on day 3. I remember my daughter's father, we're not together anymore. That's why I say my daughter's father instead of my husband or something. But he was already talking about our, you know, safari business and like, am I going to post stuff? And I'm like, hello. She's like 3 days old. Like this sacred bubble was already kind of burst with this reality stuff. And I felt like, you know, people really deserve to have that first, however long, in this really sacred, quiet environment where they're just able to celebrate that they just gave birth to a baby, whether it's their first or their 10th baby, and to really be able to just get to know that baby. And like, you know, babies are so close to heaven or God or whatever you want to call it. They are just so precious. And we don't really, you know, I feel like as they grow, they get a little further away, and maybe we get a little further away. And so that time is just, you can never get it back. And so I kind of realized, and then, you know, you quietly sort of just do what you have to do to try and be a good mom. And maybe you're kind of grieving your old self a little bit, but you feel like that's not acceptable. Maybe you're struggling a little bit, but it's not postpartum depression, so you shouldn't go to the doctor. And just like all these things that I experienced and discovered that were so difficult and challenging after becoming a mother. I mean, the pregnancy part and the birth part is, it can be so different, and everyone's experience is different, but that was what made me want to learn more about all of this and made me want to help people to realize that there are ways to prepare yourself for a good experience, and also to just honor yourself for where you're at, and ask for that celebration and just be like, hey, you know what? I just gave birth. I'd like to have all of my, you know, mama friends and sisters and aunties and come around and just let's do a blessing, or, you know, those kind of things. So since then, besides trainings and all of that, I've done, you know, kind of like mother blessing ceremonies for friends, and I've written a little, like, you know, kind of mother blessing guide that I haven't done anything with yet, but, you know, I want people to be able to see that no matter how mainstream you are, and because I'm not this woo-woo-y kind of person, but birth is something really special, and honoring yourself can help you get off on the right foot. Yeah. So
having the support, I think right now we have a culture where we individualize everything, and everyone feels like they need to do everything by themselves, and that can be really hard for anybody, never mind a new mom with a new baby. Right. So having those supportive services and having someone who understands the magic in that time is amazing. It's priceless, really. Really it is.
Right, exactly.
So I know that kind of goes into like the benefits, like what do you see the benefits for people that you're working with? Like what do you offer them? I guess not really offer them, but like how do you see them come out better by what you're giving them? I mean, I can kind of see that, but in your own words.
Benefits, you know, like I said before, this is just really a time that you can't get back. And I have, since I've been exposed to this whole birth world, I mean, I was, you know, through different experiences, I've been exposed to stories of people who have a lot of regrets about their experiences for one reason or another. And a lot of times it has to do with that they didn't have anyone supporting what they knew to be true within themselves, you know? Like I supported a mom who was going to have her second baby, and she really felt like she didn't have the right kind of support in her first birth. Even her husband didn't really understand that all she needed was a little bit more encouragement, and all the nurses and everybody were saying like, oh yeah, go, you know what? You're having a hard time, go for the epidural. And for her, you know, she just always wondered, because then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, they were like, oh, you're ready to push. And she's like, oh. And then she never got to feel pushing. And she always wondered, would it have made a difference? You know, like maybe somebody, if they had believed in me a little more, maybe I would have been able to do it. So I hear that story a lot. And it's not about, you know, medicated versus unmedicated, but it's about being able to follow your own intuition and instincts. So I work with people on kind of awakening their instincts and intuition, because we kind of have dumbed down our natural innate knowledge that we have. It's in there. Everybody has it. Everybody has it, but we're far separated from it a lot of times, because we think, for one thing, we think, oh, well, you know, I have to look it up because this article or that research paper, they know better than I do. That's, you know, one thing. Another thing is that we're just so tapped into everything that we don't take time to slow down and listen to our own inner
wisdom. Into everything but ourselves, really.
Yeah. 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 So
opinions and technology and everything's coming at us 100 miles a minute. We don't take time to just sit and be with ourselves and feel what we need to feel. So yeah, I see that a lot.
Exactly. So that's just part of what I help people. Basically, I'm guiding them to do things that they already know, and they already know to be something that they're really needing to feel like they're living life to the fullest, and to feel like they're getting the most out of their experiences, and to feel empowered and all of that. So yeah, and when I took, you know, childbirth educator training, it really like became very clear to me. There's a lot that we learn as childbirth educators that would be very, very helpful for people way earlier than the third trimester, you know? And so it's like, you know, for instance, even just the like, maybe like diaphragmatic breathing and strengthening your pelvic floor, and just the importance of exercise or nutrition. Those things are going to help you. Yes. If you change them in the third trimester, they will help you have a better, more empowering birth experience. But if you can start them before you get pregnant, that is the optimal time, right? To learn some of those things.
Yeah. That's why I always try to tell people we need to start doing these things before you get pregnant. I mean, when you do it at the end, you're just trying to catch up and do. It's just so much more impactful when they can do it earlier on. So yeah, trying to reach those moms before is key. Or there's parents, dads too.
Dads too, yeah. Exactly. And I'm really passionate about, you know, it's not just about mom. This is an experience that dad is having also, because I feel like dads often get, just like, you know, new moms do, but partners also get kind of like overlooked. And, you know, they're also having a rite of passage. It's not just mom that's having a rite of passage. They're having their own rite of passage. They need their own like tribe of men to support them. And they need their own, you know, like, oh yes, I just did this and I'm a dad now and I'm taking on this role. And they also need their own support in grieving any part of themselves that maybe they miss, you know? So yeah, it's definitely, I like to work with couples because, you know, I've seen the birth experience make couples stronger through this kind of support. And sometimes it can be a really hard experience without the right support, and it can make it harder for both parents to get a good start to parenting that child.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like I said, you just can't get enough support and proper support from people. So I think it's incredible. So I'm going to ask the dirty question. What about cost? Like, everybody says, this sounds amazing. I want you on my team. I think that I need this. What about cost? I run into a lot of problem with the dads. The moms are all like, I don't care how much it costs. I need her. I want this. This is for our family. And dads are like, no. What is the cost of services, and how do people pay for your services, and how does that work?
Well, I won't go into the specifics of costs of services because it varies on package and kind of what's included and that kind of thing. But as far as, you know, the value in this kind of support, there, you know, like sometimes people spend $50,000 on a wedding, you know, which is great. That's amazing. It's a beautiful experience that, again, you're never going to get that experience back. And we spend lots of money on cars and car payments and things like that. And that's also great. You can get somewhere comfortably with all the frills and whistles and stuff like that. But this is about an experience that can be something that will empower you for the rest of your life. And it's, you know, learning how to do some of these things that we have this innate knowledge on earlier can save a lot of suffering. I know I suffered a lot as a new parent, and just, you know, like knowing some things that can help you respond better to your child as they grow and they turn from this beautiful little infant to this person that has an opinion and is like, I'm not going to do what you say. And then your fight or flight response goes and all that stuff. I mean, if you can have those tools before that ever happens to you the first time, and you don't have to, I mean, yeah, there's always, no matter how much support you get, there will always be times where you regret the way you acted, but it's not about that. It's about being able to go back and say, you know what, I didn't do things the right way, but I am trying to do better, and here's what I'd like to do next time. But just coming from that place of already having those tools, well, you can save thousands of dollars in therapy for yourself and for your children, right? Just having this type of foundation before you really get started. And it's not about just the first child. It could be, you could already be in that place where you're feeling like, you know what, I have a toddler and I don't always act in the way that I would want to with this child. And I want to have a really good birth experience with this next baby. And I want to learn about how can I show up better. Children are our biggest mirrors for inner work. And so we all have a lot of things that we could improve on. And the cost of my services is just like an insurance plan. Let's just try and figure out how we can help things along so that you don't have to spend as much money in the future. I mean, that's just my, I've never even like said that before, but that's kind of my feeling on it.
It's absolutely how I feel too, just about your services and my services. It's just we're actually saving people money in the long run between their health, their mental health, their physical health, their overall wellness for a lifetime. It can actually be life changing, the services that you provide, as well as what I provide to people. So, and cost, like I said, cost always varies depending on the situation and the person and the services and all that kind of stuff. So it is really hard to say this is how much it is because it varies greatly. Um, yeah, and if you're supposed to have one child and then be perfect and know like you've figured it all out, then I have failed miserably because I'm on my fourth child and I'm still making mistakes and I'm still learning things and every child is different. So yeah, we're always evolving and a big part of that is being able to say that, yes, I'm sorry, I did this wrong and I apologize and I'm working on it and let's work on it together. And what a great role model for your kids to see that they can make mistakes and it's okay, we can move on, we can get better and we can always improve. So that's awesome. So what kind of people are you reaching out to? Because I know that you mentioned prenatal, preconception clients as well as people with children. So do you have an age range that you work up to or just teenagers, young kids, and like what tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So at this point, because I'm so passionate about that birth experience, I like to work with people who have either somewhat recently had that in their life experience, even if that's a couple of years ago and maybe there's healing to do on it or whatever, or are going to be or planning on having that birth experience somewhat, in the future if they're planning on trying to have kids or whatever. I am really hoping to have the next thing that I add to my list of certifications be positive parenting educator. And so, maybe at that point I would expand to a little, I don't know, maybe my niche market will always be that's the first few years, or the first couple of years, because one thing that I also became passionate about was that we really do not know enough about child development as regular citizens. And it's not fair because, a lot of times I feel like we could react better to our kids when we realize that this is just where they're at developmentally right now. And it's not a reflection on your parenting and it's not a reflection on who you are or anything, it's just where they're at developmentally. And so I feel passionate about giving people that information as well. So anyway, all that to say that, preconception, prenatal, or the sort of more typical right now, what I feel like people, when they realize they need this, is close to their birth or right after their birth.
Yeah. Cool. Then they know to reach out to you. So what are your final thoughts, your most important message? What do you want to leave us with?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. And it's good to just be able to talk about this stuff and kind of get it out there. But my final thoughts are, I just really want to challenge people to think about birth in a different way, as an opportunity to embrace a challenge that they really can, no matter what that, experience looks like, they really can embrace that challenge and feel like a success, in the end, and empower themselves in that way. And that is it's really up to the individual, no matter how many, classes you take or anything. If your mindset is not in the right place, or if you're just still in a place of not feeling empowered, then it's going to be harder to kind of embrace that experience. So I want to shift the public perception of birth from something that has to be endured or survived to something that really can be celebrated, and like a personal challenge. And like you read in my bio, I'm currently doing the personal challenge of, I've challenged myself to go from the couch to a half marathon. And I, when I started doing it, even when I got up to running for 20 minutes, because I did this app that really lets you do it really slowly, because, when you haven't exercised at all really in your life, you got to start slowly. I remember the first time it told me, now run for 20 minutes. I was like, 20 minutes in a row? Like, I don't know if I can do that. And I just kept running, and I kept running, and I kept running. And really afterwards, I felt a similar high to after having my daughter, and just that experience of, I just pushed through, did something I didn't think I could do, and I feel amazing right now. So yeah, just reaching the half marathon is going to be awesome. But you are stronger than you know. And I don't know if anyone watched Wonder Woman, but you are stronger than you know, right? And just remember that. So.
Yes, and I am in a similar position with the running. I went from basically couch. I didn't go to half marathon right away, but I went to 5K, and then really shortly after that, I went to triathlons, and I didn't know how to swim. I signed up for my first triathlon without even knowing how to swim. I couldn't get across the pool.
Wow.
So I just literally dove in head first and said, I'm going to make this challenge for me, and I'm going to make it happen. And it was hard, and there was tears, and there was confusion and wondering what the heck I signed myself up for, but I did it. And when I was done with it, it was amazing. So life, we can do things that we just don't think we can do sometimes. So I'm totally, like you said, I just love talking to you, because like, I feel like we're like soul sisters somehow, or I don't know. Like, just
totally.
every day I'm just like, yes, that's how I feel. It's amazing. So, and for those of you who are on here, we talked just a couple minutes before we started, and I was telling Rebecca that I actually signed up for the Seattle Half Marathon, and I've been just not motivated to do it at all. It's going to be probably crummy weather. I just came off of a triathlon season that I worked hard at, and I just was not feeling it. I missed a run this week, and I told her, I said, I see that you're doing this, and you're doing this for a great cause. I think I'm going to get the details from you. I'm going to sign up for this, so I have a reason that I have to do this marathon to get myself motivated. Sometimes I need a little carrot at the end of my stick.
Definitely.
To do things, and that's fine. That's the way to do it. So we'll be maybe running together.
Yeah. That'd be so awesome.
In Seattle, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm so happy that you came on with me. This is my very first interview of a series that we're going to be doing with different women mostly. And if there's some guys out there who want to do it too, just contact me. I'd love to get you on, who are all about women and moms and empowerment, and in the fitness industry, in the pregnancy industry, in the industry, whatever they call it, in that time frame. So I am so pleased that you came on and shared your heart and soul, and your services are amazing. And I hope that you reach out and reach more people. I try to do similar things in my office, and I love having people to refer to. So definitely people will be hearing your name a lot from me, to get someone like you on their team ASAP. So if anybody has any questions, I'm sure Rebecca and I will see these after the interview, after we end our live broadcast here. We can get to you, we can give you her contact information, anything that you have questions about, feel free to post a comment. So anything else, Rebecca, or should we sign off?
I just want to say one more thing. If people are wanting to support that cause, Every Mother Counts, because Every Mother Counts is an organization that's dedicated to improving maternal health in the US and around the world. I don't know if people know kind of how bad it is, but it's the US. It has the worst maternal mortality rate in the developed world for a lot of reasons. One reason is because we don't actually listen to people. The UK has improved their rates just purely by listening to mothers more. But if you are wanting to support that cause, then you can find the information. I will be posting soon on my Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Mama Nunu Tribe. You can find it there, or on my website, which is mamanunu.com. So feel free to join us. Even if you can't join us running, you can join us by making a donation. So that would be absolutely amazing.
And I'll put those links in the comments at the end of this so people can just click on there. So yeah, awesome. It was great to have you. And I look forward to being in connection with you now and in the future. And thank you for everything that you do for moms and babies. So we're going to sign off here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. And we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.